Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we stand on the threshold of Ramadan, a month unlike any other, our hearts naturally turn towards reflection, renewal, and a deeper connection with Allah. This sacred time is not just about abstaining from food and drink, but about awakening the soul, refining our character, and embracing a life illuminated by faith and gratitude. The Quran reminds us that this is a month of guidance, mercy, and forgiveness, a time when our deeds are multiplied and our supplications are more readily accepted. The Prophet Muhammad taught us that those who seize Ramadan with sincerity and devotion emerge transformed, carrying its light into the rest of their lives. Today we will explore 6 powerful steps that will allow us to prepare, maximize, and truly experience the virtues of Ramadan, grounding our journey in the teachings of the Quran and the wisdom of Hadith. These steps are more than strategies. They are gateways to a spiritually fulfilling month that can strengthen our faith, purify our hearts, and draw us closer to Allah. As we embark on this blessed journey towards Ramadan, the first and most essential step is purifying the heart and mind. This is the foundation upon which every other act of worship, every fast, every prayer, and every act of charity rests. The Prophet Muhammad emphasized that Allah does not look at our appearances or our wealth, but rather at our hearts and our intentions. A heart that is cluttered with envy, malice, or heedlessness cannot fully embrace the mercy and blessings that this sacred month offers. Therefore, before we even think about organizing our schedules or planning our Quran recitation, we must turn inward and reflect deeply on the state of our hearts. Purification begins with intention, for the heart is shaped by what it holds. The Quran reminds us in Surah Al-Baqarah, indeed, Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. 2:53. This verse is a powerful reminder that transformation starts internally. To truly benefit from Ramadan, we must examine our thoughts, our emotions, and the underlying intentions behind our actions. Are we fasting merely out of habit, or are we seeking the pleasure of Allah? Are we giving charity to be seen by others, or is it a sincere act of compassion and devotion? These questions, though challenging, are vital because they align our hearts with purpose and sincerity. One of the most effective ways to purify the heart is through self-reflection and repentance. The Prophet said, "The one who repents from sin is like one who did not sin." This hadith highlights the transformative power of returning to Allah, acknowledging our shortcomings, and seeking His forgiveness. Ramadan is a time when Allah's mercy is abundant and His forgiveness is vast. By acknowledging our past mistakes and consciously turning away from sin, we create a heart that is receptive to guidance and a mind that is free from the weight of guilt and regret. Daily reflection, even for a few minutes, can become a spiritual practice that cleanses our inner world, allowing us to enter the month with a renewed sense of devotion and clarity. Another critical aspect of purification is removing negative emotions that cloud our judgment and weaken our spiritual connection. Anger, envy, pride, and resentment act as barriers between the servant and the Creator. The Prophet taught that anger is a flame that can consume the heart, yet he also offered guidance on managing it. The strong is not the one who overcomes people by his strength, but the one who controls himself while in anger. Ramadan invites us to control not only our physical desires, but also our emotional impulses. By practicing patience, forgiveness, and gratitude, we cleanse our hearts of toxicity and make space for love, humility, and compassion. Equally important is guarding the mind against distractions that distance us from our spiritual goals. In our modern world, constant noise, social media, and endless obligations can fill our minds and drown out the whisper of our conscience. Ramadan calls for mindfulness, not just in our worship but in our daily lives. Setting aside time for quiet reflection, recitation of the Quran, and sincere supplication helps us cultivate an inner environment where clarity and devotion can flourish. A focused mind allows us to feel the weight of our prayers, to understand the meanings of the Quran, and to engage with our faith on a deeper level. The purification of the heart also involves nurturing positive qualities that bring us closer to Allah. Gratitude, sincerity, humility, and love for others are not just moral virtues, they are spiritual instruments that elevate the soul. The Prophet said, "He who does not show mercy to others will not be shown mercy by Allah." Ramadan provides countless opportunities to practice mercy, to be generous with our words and actions, and to let go of grudges and resentment. By consciously cultivating these qualities, we purify our hearts and align our inner selves with the divine guidance of the Quran and Sunnah. Finally, let us remember that purification is an ongoing process, not a one-time event. Preparing for Ramadan means beginning this journey of self-refinement now, before the crescent moon appears in the sky. It is about making small but consistent efforts each day, a kind word instead of a harsh one, a moment of reflection instead of heedlessness, a sincere act of worship instead of a ritual performed mechanically. Every step we take towards cleansing our hearts is a step towards a more meaningful and transformative Ramadan. In conclusion, purifying the heart and mind is the gateway to a Ramadan filled with spiritual depth, inner peace, and closeness to Allah. It is the soil in which all other acts of devotion will flourish. As we let go of negativity, cultivate sincerity, and open our hearts to mercy, we prepare ourselves to fully embrace the blessings and virtue of this sacred month. May Allah guide us, cleanse our hearts, and allow us to enter Ramadan with minds focused, hearts illuminated, and souls ready for the profound transformation that awaits. As we move forward on our journey towards Ramadan, the second powerful step is structuring our daily worship. Ramadan is not just a month of fasting, it is a month of heightened devotion, where every hour, every action, and every intention can be transformed into a source of immense spiritual reward. But to truly harness the blessings of this sacred month, we must organize our days in a way that prioritizes Allah, creating a rhythm that balances ritual worship, reflection, and daily responsibilities. Without structure, even the best intentions can become scattered, leaving us spiritually exhausted rather than spiritually enriched. The Prophet Muhammad was a model of disciplined worship. His days were carefully balanced between prayer, recitation of the Quran, reflection, and acts of service. Yet he approached each with sincerity and mindfulness. He would not merely pray mechanically, he would immerse himself in each unit of prayer, understanding its meaning and allowing it to transform his heart. In the same way, Ramadan calls us to intentionally structure our days to maximize both the quantity and quality of our worship. A key starting point is the 5 daily prayers. While these are mandatory for every believer, Ramadan invites us to elevate them beyond routine. Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha are not just obligations, they are opportunities to connect with Allah, to pause in our busy lives, and to ground ourselves in remembrance of Him. Many scholars emphasize that offering prayers on time with khushu, full presence of heart and mind, sets the tone for the day and provides a spiritual anchor. Structuring your day around prayer ensures that your actions, work, and interactions are infused with consciousness of Allah. Equally significant is the incorporation of Quran recitation into our daily routine. Ramadan is called the month of the Quran, for it is in this month that Allah revealed the guidance that illuminates our path, establishing a schedule for Quran reading. Whether it is a portion each day or a goal to complete the entire Quran over the month, creates a rhythm of reflection and spiritual nourishment. But more than just recitation, it is vital to ponder the meanings of the verses, allowing their wisdom to penetrate our hearts. The Prophet said, "The best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it." Even a few verses with deep understanding are more transformative than pages read without reflection. Another critical aspect of structured worship is dhikr, the remembrance of Allah. Simple phrases of praise and gratitude, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, repeated throughout the day, keep our hearts mindful and attuned to Allah. Dhikr acts as a constant reminder that our purpose is not only in grand acts of worship, but also in maintaining a state of awareness and connection throughout daily life. Setting small, achievable goals for dhikr at different times, before meals, after prayer, or during quiet moments, helps create a pattern of worship that integrates seamlessly into our routines. Taraweeh prayers are another cornerstone of structured worship during Ramadan. While they may seem challenging at first, they are an unparalleled opportunity to strengthen our faith, gain reward, and experience spiritual closeness. Structuring time in the evening specifically for Taraweeh allows us to experience the communal and personal benefits of these prayers without feeling overwhelmed. Remember, the Prophet emphasized moderation in worship to prevent burnout. The most beloved deeds to Allah are those done consistently, even if they are small. It is better to maintain a steady, manageable routine than to overexert ourselves for a few days and then lose momentum. Structuring worship also extends to planning our acts of charity and kindness. Ramadan is a month of generosity, where every act of giving, every word of encouragement, and every small gesture of care carries multiplied reward. By intentionally scheduling acts of service, whether it is feeding the needy, visiting the sick, or offering support to family and neighbors, we make generosity a consistent part of our days. This intentionality transforms ordinary routines into extraordinary acts of worship, aligning our actions with the spirit of Ramadan. Equally important is balancing worship with rest and nutrition. Fasting, prayer, and late-night worship can be physically demanding. Structuring sleep, meals, and periods of reflection ensures that we have the energy and clarity to engage fully in our spiritual practices. The Prophet taught moderation in all things, reminding us that the strength of the body supports the devotion of the soul. By creating a balanced schedule, we honor both our physical needs and our spiritual aspirations. Finally, structuring daily worship is about consistency and intentionality. It is about Qiyada, Angie habits that elevate our spirituality not just during Ramadan but beyond. A well-planned day allows us to enter each moment with purpose, to transform routines into acts of devotion, and to experience a depth of connection with Allah that is both uplifting and transformative. As we prepare for Ramadan, let us envision a schedule that nurtures our soul, strengthens our faith, and aligns our daily life with the divine guidance of the Qur'an and Sunnah. In conclusion, structuring daily worship is a powerful tool for maximizing the blessings of Ramadan. By prioritizing prayer, Qur'an recitation, dhikr, taraweeh, acts of charity, and balanced living, we create a rhythm of devotion that transforms our days and enriches our souls. Let us embrace this structure, not as a restriction, but as a pathway to spiritual freedom, a framework that allows us to grow, reflect, and connect deeply with Allah throughout this sacred month. As we progress on our journey towards a truly transformative Ramadan, the third step is embracing fasting with mindfulness. Fasting is far more than abstaining from food and drink. It is a comprehensive act of worship that engages the body, mind, and soul. The Prophet Muhammad described fasting as a shield, saying, "Fasting is a shield. It protects you from sin and the fire." This shield, however, is effective only when fasting is approached with awareness, sincerity, and reflection. To benefit fully from this sacred act, we must understand its profound purpose and cultivate mindfulness in every aspect of it. Essence of fasting lies in the purification of the heart and control of the soul. While our bodies abstain from physical sustenance, our minds and hearts are invited to abstain from negative thoughts, harmful speech, and sinful behavior. The Quran reminds us, "O you who have believed, decreed upon you is fasting as it was decreed upon those before you, that you may become righteous." 2:18-3. The objective of fasting is not mere physical endurance, but the development of taqwa, consciousness and fear of Allah, which guides us to live a righteous life. Mindful fasting transforms our hunger into a spiritual tool, sharpening our awareness of Allah's presence in every thought and action. To embrace fasting with mindfulness, it is essential to begin each day with intention. The Prophet taught us that every action is judged by its intention. Actions are but by intentions, and every man shall have only that which he intended. Before taking the first sip of water at suhoor or observing the day's fast, make a conscious choice. You are fasting to seek Allah's pleasure, to purify your soul, and to draw closer to your Creator. This intentionality turns routine abstention into meaningful worship, transforming ordinary hunger into a spiritual experience. Mindfulness during fasting also requires careful attention to our behavior and speech. The Prophet warned against speaking ill, lying, or engaging in harmful disputes while fasting, emphasizing that the fast is invalidated by sins of the tongue and heart. Every moment becomes an opportunity to practice patience, humility, and restraint. When irritability arises, pause and remember that the fast is not only from food and drink, but from negative impulses. Each moment of self-control strengthens the spirit and elevates the reward, turning challenges into acts of devotion. Fasting also offers a unique lens through which to understand the struggles of others. Hunger and thirst cultivate empathy for those less fortunate, opening the heart to generosity, charity, and compassion. The Prophet said, "Whoever feeds a fasting person will have a reward like theirs without diminishing their reward in the slightest." By practicing mindful fasting, we learn to value the blessings we often take for granted and to extend mercy and kindness to those in need. Empathy becomes a spiritual exercise, expanding the reach of our devotion beyond personal worship. Mindful fasting is also strengthened through prayer and reflection. During the hours of abstention, take time to engage in dhikr, recitation of the Quran, and silent contemplation. Let the pangs of hunger remind you of your dependence on Allah and the transient nature of worldly comforts. Suhoor and iftar, the pre-dawn and sunset meals, can also be moments of reflection and gratitude, where we consciously thank Allah for sustaining us and providing for our needs. Even simple actions, performed with awareness, become acts of worship when infused with gratitude and mindfulness. The Prophet encouraged moderation in fasting, highlighting the importance of balance. Overexertion or neglect of one's health can diminish the spiritual benefits. Mindfulness extends to caring for our bodies as vessels of worship. Proper nutrition at suhoor and iftar, hydration, and sufficient rest allow the mind and soul to focus on devotion rather than physical discomfort. Mindful fasting, therefore, encompasses not just abstention but thoughtful management of our physical and spiritual resources. Finally, embracing fasting with mindfulness means integrating its lessons into daily life. Ramadan is not an isolated period of abstention, but a training ground for lasting spiritual growth. The patience, self-discipline, empathy, and gratitude cultivated through fasting should extend beyond the month, guiding interactions, decisions, and intentions throughout the year. Every conscious fast is a step toward a more aware, spiritually attuned, and morally upright life. In conclusion, mindful fasting transforms the simple act of abstaining from food and drink into a profound spiritual journey. It is a practice that sharpens the heart, elevates the soul, and deepens our connection with Allah. By approaching fasting with intention, restraint, reflection, and empathy, we not only fulfill a central pillar of worship, but also cultivate a consciousness that touches every aspect of our lives. Let us step into Ramadan prepared to fast not only with our bodies, but with our hearts fully awake, our minds attentive, and our souls attuned to the divine presence that this sacred month brings. As we continue our journey through the powerful steps to fully embrace Ramadan, the fourth step is embracing acts of charity and compassion. Ramadan is a month of mercy, generosity, and giving, a time when the hearts of believers are softened and the doors of divine reward are wide open. While fasting purifies the soul and structures our worship, acts of charity elevate it further, transforming compassion into action. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The best of people are those who are most beneficial to people." True devotion in Ramadan is incomplete without reaching out to others, extending kindness and alleviating the suffering of those in need. The Quran emphasizes the importance of charity repeatedly, reminding us that wealth and blessings are a trust from Allah, and spend in the way of Allah from what we have provided you before death approaches one of you. And he says, "My Lord, if only you would delay me for a short term, so I would give charity and be among the righteous." Ramadan is a month when this trust is highlighted, when every act of giving is magnified and every gesture of care carries multiplied reward. Charity is not restricted to wealth alone. Time, energy, guidance, and even a kind word can be acts of giving when performed sincerely for Allah's sake. The essence of charitable action in Ramadan begins with empathy. Fasting teaches us the pangs of hunger, the thirst for sustenance, and the fragility of human dependence. These experiences cultivate a heart attuned to the needs of others. When we recognize our own blessings, we naturally feel compelled to share them with those less fortunate. The Prophet said, "Whoever relieves a believer's distress of the distressful aspects of this world, Allah will rescue him from a difficulty of the difficulties of the hereafter." Acts of charity, then, are not only a service to humanity, but also a direct path to divine mercy and protection. Compassion in action takes many forms: providing food for the hungry, supporting the poor, helping widows and orphans, or giving to local causes are all acts of charity that illuminate the soul. Small gestures, such as assisting a neighbor, mentoring a student, or even a smile and kind word, have profound spiritual impact when motivated by sincerity. Ramadan teaches us that no act of compassion is too small. Even feeding a single fasting person or guiding someone to good carries immense reward. The Prophet specifically highlighted feeding those who fast, stating, "He who provides food for a fasting person to break their fast will have a reward equal to theirs, without diminishing their reward in the least." This hadith beautifully illustrates how compassion is intertwined with fasting and how acts of charity enhance the spiritual fruits of the month. Structured charity amplifies its impact. Just as we organize our worship, we can intentionally plan acts of giving during Ramadan, setting aside a portion of wealth for sadaqah, identifying those in need in our community, or volunteering our time at charitable organizations creates a rhythm of generosity. Intentionality ensures that acts of charity are consistent and meaningful rather than sporadic or reactive. When charity is integrated into our daily routines, it becomes a living expression of our faith, reflecting the heart of Ramadan in action. Compassion extends beyond material aid to include emotional and spiritual support. Listening to the lonely, comforting the grieving, forgiving past offenses, and reconciling with estranged family members are all acts of charity of the heart. The Prophet exemplified this through his life, showing mercy to all, supporting the weak, and lifting the oppressed. Ramadan is the perfect opportunity to emulate this model, reaching beyond our immediate circle to foster understanding, empathy, and love in our communities. Furthermore, acts of charity and compassion cultivate humility and gratitude. By recognizing the struggles of others, we gain perspective on our own blessings and cultivate a heart free of arrogance and attachment to worldly possessions. The Quran reminds us, those who spend their wealth in Allah's way by night and by day, secretly and publicly, they will have their reward with their Lord, and no fear will there be concerning them, nor will they grieve. 2:27-4. The dual benefits of charity, helping others and nurturing our own soul, demonstrate its centrality in the spiritual journey of Ramadan. Finally, embracing charity and compassion is about creating a lasting impact. Ramadan may be a month of heightened giving, but the values we cultivate should extend beyond its 30 days. The habit of generosity, The practice of empathy and the mindset of service should become part of our daily lives, shaping our interactions, relationships, and decisions. By consistently engaging in acts of kindness, we not only earn Allah's reward, but also create a ripple effect, inspiring others to act and spreading the light of Ramadan throughout our communities. In conclusion, acts of charity and compassion are the heart of Ramadan's spiritual power. They transform fasting from a personal discipline into a means of societal good. They elevate worship into tangible impact, and they allow us to live the principles of Islam in every interaction. As we approach this sacred month, let us purify our intentions, open our hearts, and commit to giving our wealth, our time, and our love to others. In doing so, we not only seek the pleasure of Allah, but also bring light, hope, and mercy into a world in need of compassion. Perfect. Here's your fifth keynote: Strengthening Family and Community Bonds, written as an 800-word motivation. L section for your speech, blending inspiration, Quran, Hadith, and practical guidance for Ramadan. As we continue our journey through the 6 powerful steps to fully embrace Ramadan, the 5th step is strengthening family and community bonds. Ramadan is not only a month of personal devotion, it is a time for connection, compassion, and unity. The Prophet Muhammad emphasized the importance of relationships, saying, "The believer who mixes with people and endures their harm is better than the one who does not mix with people and does not endure their harm." This sacred month provides a unique opportunity to foster harmony within our families, neighborhoods, and communities, creating an environment where faith, love, and mutual respect flourish. Family is the first and most influential sphere in which these bonds are cultivated. Sharing meals at suhoor and iftar, praying together, and supporting one another in acts of worship strengthens both spiritual and emotional ties. The Quran emphasizes the importance of family ties, stating, "And we have enjoined upon man care for his parents." 4:6-15. Ramadan encourages us to actively honor our parents, care for our siblings, and nurture our children with patience, guidance, and love. These moments, simple as they may seem, are acts of worship that earn immense reward when infused with intention and sincerity. The spirit of Ramadan also reminds us to forgive and reconcile. Family tensions, old disagreements, or misunderstandings often weigh heavily on the heart, but the sacredness of this month calls for reconciliation and renewed unity. The Prophet said, "The one who reconciles between people will have a reward like the one who was oppressed, without diminishing the reward of either." Making the effort to repair strained relationships during Ramadan not only strengthens family bonds, but also purifies the heart, creating a peaceful environment that allows spiritual growth to flourish. Beyond the family, Ramadan invites us to engage actively with our communities. The communal aspects of the month, gathering for Taraweeh, sharing food with neighbors, volunteering at mosques, and assisting those in need, create a sense of collective spirituality and belonging. The Prophet said, "Whoever believes in Allah and the last day, let him maintain good relations with his neighbors." Community engagement during Ramadan strengthens trust, empathy, and social cohesion, ensuring that the blessings of the month extend beyond the individual and touch the lives of many. Acts of kindness, big and small, are essential to nurturing these bonds. Simple gestures: inviting a neighbor to break fast together, checking on the elderly, helping a struggling family, reflect the teachings of Islam in practical ways. The Prophet encouraged even minor acts of goodness, stating, "A smile for your brother is charity." Ramadan amplifies the impact of these acts, turning ordinary interactions into profound expressions of faith. Each effort we make to support, comfort, and uplift others strengthens the web of relationships that sustain our spiritual and social lives. Strengthening bonds also involves teaching and sharing. Ramadan is an ideal time to guide children and younger family members in acts of worship, instilling values of empathy, patience, and gratitude, encouraging one another in prayer, Quran recitation and charity fosters a culture of devotion and mutual support. When families and communities participate in spiritual practices together, they create an environment where faith is nurtured naturally, and spiritual growth becomes a shared journey rather than an isolated endeavor. The concept of unity and collaboration extends to collective worship as well. Taraweeh prayers in congregation, iftar gatherings, and community service projects highlight the power of togetherness. Islam emphasizes that the strength of a community lies in cooperation, compassion, and shared purpose. The Prophet said, "The believers in their mutual love, compassion, and sympathy are like one body. If one part feels pain, the whole body responds with sleeplessness and fever." Ramadan offers countless opportunities to embody this principle, reinforcing that our spiritual journey is most fulfilling when shared with others. Moreover, Ramadan encourages us to reach beyond our immediate circles and embrace inclusivity. Acts of kindness toward neighbors, colleagues, and even strangers cultivate harmony and break down social barriers. By extending the values of mercy, patience, and generosity to all, we build communities rooted in compassion and understanding. This collective engagement strengthens not only our social bonds but also our sense of responsibility as Muslims, tasked with spreading goodness and justice in society. Finally, the bonds we cultivate in Ramadan should extend beyond the month itself. While the heightened awareness and devotion during Ramadan naturally encourage connection, the lessons we learn, patience, empathy, generosity, and reconciliation, should guide our interactions throughout the year. By maintaining family harmony, actively supporting our communities, and fostering unity, we ensure that the spiritual benefits of Ramadan leave a lasting imprint on our lives. In conclusion, strengthening family and community bonds is an essential pillar of spiritually fulfilling Ramadan. By nurturing relationships, reconciling differences, supporting neighbors, and fostering a culture of collective worship and compassion, we transform the month into a living demonstration of Islam's values. Let us approach Ramadan not only as a time for personal devotion, but as an opportunity to unite our hearts with our families, communities, and society at large, creating a legacy of love, empathy, and shared faith that endures far beyond the crescent moon's appearance. Absolutely. Here's your sixth keynote, Sustaining Spiritual Growth Beyond Ramadan, written as an 800-word motivational section to conclude your speech powerfully. As we reach the final step in our journey toward a transformative Ramadan, the sixth and most vital step is sustaining spiritual growth beyond this sacred month. Ramadan is a time of heightened devotion, self-discipline, and reflection. But its true value is realized when the lessons we learn and the habits we cultivate continue to shape our lives long after the crescent moon disappears from the sky. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The most beloved deeds to Allah are those done consistently, even if they are small." This teaching reminds us that the spiritual progress achieved in Ramadan is not meant to be temporary. It is a foundation for lifelong growth. Sustaining spiritual growth begins with intention. The habits, devotion, and sincerity developed during Ramadan must be carried forward with purpose. Every act of worship performed during this month, whether it is prayer, Qur'an recitation, fasting, or charity, offers a model for consistent practice. By consciously setting goals for continued worship, we prevent the momentum of Ramadan from fading into ordinary routine. Even small, consistent acts of devotion, such as reciting a few verses of the Quran daily, making dhikr, or offering voluntary prayers, accumulate over time and fortify the soul. Equally important is maintaining mindfulness in everyday life. Ramadan trains us to be aware of our thoughts, actions, and intentions, but sustaining this awareness requires deliberate effort. Each day after Ramadan provides opportunities to practice self-reflection. Are our words and deeds aligned with our faith? Do our intentions remain pure? Are we mindful of Allah's presence in our interactions, work, and relationships? By applying the consciousness developed in Ramadan to our regular lives, we continue to nurture the spiritual clarity and moral integrity that the month cultivates. Acts of charity and kindness, so emphasized during Ramadan, should also extend beyond the month. Generosity and compassion are not seasonal. They are expressions of faith that should permeate every aspect of our lives. The Prophet said, "The upper hand is better than the lower hand. The upper hand is the one that gives, and the lower hand is the one that takes." By continuing to give, volunteer, and support those in need, we maintain the outward manifestation of our spiritual growth, ensuring that the lessons of empathy, humility, and service remain active in our lives. Fostering consistent connection with the Quran is another pillar of sustained growth. Ramadan is called the month of the Quran because it draws us into its guidance more intensely, but the ultimate goal is to carry this connection forward. Making a daily routine of reading, reflecting, and implementing its teachings ensures that the Quran remains a living guide. Even a few minutes of focused recitation each day creates a rhythm that strengthens faith, shapes character, and nurtures understanding. The Prophet said, "The one who recites the Quran and acts upon it will be adorned with light and honor on the Day of Judgment." Continuous engagement with the Quran guarantees that the spiritual benefits of Ramadan endure. Another vital aspect is maintaining a supportive spiritual environment. Surrounding ourselves with family, friends, and community members who encourage worship, learning, and righteous living sustains the motivation cultivated during Ramadan. The Prophet emphasized the value of good companionship. A person is likely to follow the faith of his friend. So look whom you befriend. Engaging in study circles, attending the mosque regularly, or participating in community service projects reinforces habits and provides accountability, helping us preserve the momentum of Ramadan in our daily lives. Self-discipline developed during fasting should also continue to guide our behavior. The patience, restraint, and mindfulness honed in Ramadan are transferable to all aspects of life, whether it is controlling anger, managing desires, or resisting negative habits. The spiritual strength gained during the month becomes a lifelong tool for moral and ethical growth. By applying these lessons consistently, we create a character shaped by integrity, humility, and devotion. Finally, sustaining spiritual growth requires gratitude and reflection. Ramadan teaches us to be thankful for every blessing, to cherish every opportunity for worship, and to recognize the mercy and guidance of Allah. Continuing this practice after Ramadan deepens our appreciation for life and strengthens our resilience against trials. Reflecting on our experiences, setting spiritual goals, and seeking Allah's guidance daily ensures that our faith continues to expand, evolve, and illuminate our paths. In conclusion, sustaining spiritual growth beyond Ramadan is the key to turning a month of devotion into a lifetime of faith. By maintaining intention, mindfulness, acts of charity, Quran connection, supportive companionship, self-discipline, and gratitude, we ensure that the blessings and lessons of Ramadan endure in our hearts and actions. This step completes the journey, transforming the temporary surge of devotion into lasting transformation and allowing us to carry the light, mercy, and spiritual elevation of Ramadan into every day of our lives. Let us leave this sacred month not only spiritually enriched, but committed to a path of continuous growth, striving for Allah's pleasure in all aspects of our lives.